All right. Hi, Oriel. Welcome back.
We're back.
Another episode.
Yeah.
And we've got a really good guest this week, don't we?
Yeah. Well, it is what's the official term? It's the Bullying No Way Week.
Yes.
Which is the National Week of Action.
Yeah,
That's
amazing.
This week. So it's all about childhood bullying.
Yeah, so shedding light on bullying, and they have a particular topic each year that they want to talk about and bring to the forefront. So we have an amazing guest that we're going to talk to today who's going to give us lots of insight into what that is all about. So we'll introduce her towards the end of the episode.
And tell you about Triple P parenting, which is where she's from and where she works.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited for that. But first of all, let's talk about our horse ride.
Yes.
Because we are we're just back in the flow, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're back in action.
I've been away.
Yep.
Back together in the arena. Oh, there's a song about that, I think.
So it would be our backing music.
Yeah.
So today we did some arena work first.
Yep.
And you had some amazing feedback.
I did. You know, how long have we been riding with Tracy? Since
the beginning of the year, yeah.
So where are we now? August. So we're in our 8th month of riding together. And Tracy, and all that time she's an amazing coach, but she's never told me that my canter is great. We've been working on it hard, but she's never said your canter is great. And she said, my canter is great.
So amazing. Go you. Just that positive bit of feedback. You just sometimes just need to keep going and keep persevering, and that's what you've been doing. And it is great, and we'll pop up some videos of your great canter because you're just fabulous.
I'm just fabulous.
You're just fabulous. But you've also really worked hard at it, and
I
it
have.
shows that. And it shows how much you have to put into these things.
She's a bit concerned about the fact that she says, like her, I'm a perfectionist. And she said that's going to make things very hard for you.
Because there ain't nothing much perfect about horse riding.
There's nothing perfect about horse riding. It's not just you. It's not just what you do.
No.
There's so many factors involved. But I was incredibly happy because, like you say, I have actually been working very hard.
Very hard, including a mechanical horse version.
Yes, exactly.
All the versions.
Which if you haven't been on Facebook yet to have a look, or Instagram, have a look. It's very funny.
It is very funny.
Yeah.
So amazing work. And then after we did some arena work and you just, nailed your canter, then we went out into a forest trail, which was so lovely. I loved it.
Yeah, it was beautiful. But before we get into the forest trail, you were riding Hebe again.
Yeah, I was riding
Hebe. Is it the third time you've ridden Hebe?
Yes. He is he's just a cute horse.
He's a sweetheart, isn't he?
He's just
beautiful?
a sweetheart, yeah. I've really enjoyed getting to know him. And
your canter.
Yes, I did canter. I did canter him.
A few times. Your canter is so much better.
I think it is better. I appreciate that. But I do, because I'm moving around a couple of different horses, I do feel like I regress with it, and then I have to learn that horse's transition and that horse's canter, and then I can get it back again. So I know the foundation is there in my mind, but it's just working through what their particular gaits are, which sort of shows me that I'm not as good a rider as what I want to be, because I want to be able to jump on any horse
and ride.
Yeah. So I guess I sometimes feel a bit frustrated by myself with that, but the more I get to know them, and I just want to have a bit of consistency, then I can do that. But, maybe it will make me a better rider in the longer term to be able to transition between horses.
100%.
Who knows?
100%. Well, that's what Tracy said to us at the very start.
Yeah.
The more horses you ride, the better you will become, because you'll experience all these different horses. But I know what you mean when it comes to your frustration about how well you're riding. And, we've talked about this before, that slight regression that you feel.
Yeah.
At times when you're riding and you get better and you take steps forward, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're not doing so well again. I feel like after 8 months of riding, I should be a better rider too.
Yeah.
I think, but it's a work in progress.
It is a work in progress. And I think where I'm at now, and I imagine you're probably the same, the fear isn't as big.
No.
With the riding.
But it's still there.
It's still there. But the frustrations are more there in what the body should be doing, or, what aids we should be doing, and the technical stuff.
Yes.
So it's quite an interesting shift that we're starting to work towards. Like, I'm not doing as many nervous wheeze anymore.
Yeah. Before we get on the horse.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's a funny mind focus and you know what we've spoken about, roller coaster of emotions that we feel with this.
Yes.
Which is why there's so much to talk about each week.
But we had this beautiful happy ending to that.
Yeah.
Riding in that, like, it's a tiny little trail, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, a few little different parts of the, trails go round and then back on yourself and then around a bit the other way. And it's only meant to take 5 minutes to ride around the whole lot.
Yeah, and a little creek there.
And a little creek and tiny little hill, like which, 5 or 6 walk steps and 2 canter strides up the hill. But both of us cantered up this little hill.
Yeah, we did. It was really fun. And I think it was the second time I cantered, he'd be up this little hill. He was like, okay, it's home time. And he wanted to go left and I wanted to go right. And we had a little bit of a battle there. He was like, I'm on the home stretch. And Tracy said to me, if he goes, just ride it. I was like, okay.
There's a gate at the end of the trail.
Yeah, there is a gate. But what she did actually teach me was just to anticipate that he does want to go left. And so tightening on that right rein. And he did nicely then transition to the right on the next time we went up. But I was like, no, we're going to go this way. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, we're not going home yet.
Yeah, we're not going home yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really fun. Just trotting and cantering around there and being out in the, with nature and all the trees and the lovely babbling creek.
Feels beautiful.
And then we tried to get Lainey through the creek.
Well, unsuccessfully, shall we say?
Successfully.
In fact, she didn't even like to stand on the ground next to the creek because it was uneven.
Yeah, like a rocky sort of creek bed.
Kind of like a rocky, yeah. And he was like, "Whoa, I don't think I like this. No,
yes.
I don't want to do this."
And he kept pouring. He kept hoofing at the creek bed.
He suggested to me that he wanted to go for a bit of a swim. And
imagine if he just leapt into it.
Yeah. Well, I said to Tracy, I feel like he might try to jump in, and I don't think I'm ready for that.
So yeah, it was a lovely end to the lesson though, and I really enjoy that little forest trail. It just sort of recenters and pulls all the adrenaline and the hard work that we've done prior just kind of back into the end and get a bit more centered or something. Yeah. So fun. So we'll see what next week brings, hey?
Yes, we will.
We will.
So on to today.
Do you want to talk about Carol?
Let me talk about Carol. So Carol Markie-Dadds is joining us. Now, Carol is, I want to make sure I get this right, so I'm going to read it. She's the country director of Triple P International, and she's going to be talking to us, as we talked about, Bullying No Way, which is a national week of action, which is the 11th to 15th of August, which is right now.
Yep.
We're smack bang in the middle of that. Now, they've been doing a lot of research into bullying. Some very, very scary stats have come to light, including 1 in 4 Australian school-age kids experience bullying.
Yeah.
And I think that's horrendous.
Yeah, it really is. And they've got a theme this year, which is Be Bold, Be Kind, and Speak Up, which is about making sure that kids have the ability and the tools to actually stop bullying when they're seeing it happen, and be resilient enough and tough enough to stand up to their friends when they see that bad behaviour, and for parents to be able to support that and help them navigate with those skills. So there's some amazing stuff in this, and we're right in the thick of it, right? We've got these school-age kids, and we're rolling into high school next year, or I am, and it all just sort of will change. And I think as much talk as possible around this is really important.
Yeah, absolutely, and bring it to light, and also help parents out there work out, what do you do? What signs are there that your kids are being bullied? And what do you do if you find out that they are being bullied? And
or if they're the bully.
Or if they're the bully.
Yeah.
Do you talk to the parents? Do you talk to the teacher? How do you deal with this, and how do you support your kids through it?
Yeah.
So we're going to ask her all about that.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting. And just a little bit about Triple P International. So they are actually headquartered where we are in Brisbane, and they aim to create global positive social change by disseminating the Triple P, which is a positive parenting program, and putting evidence-based parenting in the hands of every parent. So they've got some amazing resources. The Australian government offers free under the age of 12, with parents with children under the age of 12, to do online courses, and they have helped millions of children and their families. And it's been translated into 23 languages other than English worldwide. So it's an incredible program. And it's been around for a long time. And I know you and I have both done the program at some point. So we're really thrilled to have a guest from Triple P with the backing of Triple P, and then also her credentials to help us through it.
Yep. So let's bring in Carol.
So Carol, welcome. It's wonderful to have you with us today. Thank you so much for inviting me along.
Now, you've been involved in Triple P parenting for how long?
Nearly most of my career. So I actually started at the University of Queensland with the original authors of Triple P back in the 90s. So I was there for a good 10 years or so. Then I went into government public policy to try to make a difference at a greater statewide level. And then I've been back with Triple P International, which is the dissemination arm for the Triple P program. So this is where we get the word out and we train practitioners in delivering the program and provide resources directly to parents. So I've just at my 10-year anniversary back with Triple P International.
Wow, that's amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And what brought you to this sort of work, which is around, helping families essentially with navigating childhood and into their teens?
And I guess I've always had, my background is in clinical psychology, and I've always had a passion for supporting children and making sure that every child has the best opportunities in life. And the best way to do that is to support parents, because they're the most influential figures in our children's lives. They make a big impact, particularly in those first 5 years or so. And if we can support parents in those early years and beyond, then hopefully we've got children thriving, reaching their potential, and going on and having, happy, confident, resilient lives.
Carol, we are smack bang in the middle of, I want to make sure that I get this right, Bullying No Way National Week of Action, which is the 11th of 15th of August, which is where we're at right now. This is so important, but I know that Triple P have done a lot of research, obviously, on bullying. These stats, I had no idea that 1 in 4 Australian school-age kids experience bullying. That is, to me, or to us, is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, that's one of our 4 children, Oriel, that's going to experience it. And is that the extent of that bullying? Is there parameters that you sort of set as to what bullying is, what it's classified as?
Well, bullying is essentially being unkind to others on purpose and using power, a power relationship for doing that. And it's a repeated pattern of behavior. So it's not a one-off comment that you might hear one day from somebody, but it's that repeated pattern. The challenge with getting bullying data, it's very hard to get. So our estimates are 1 in 4 children, school-age children in their lifetime experience bullying. But when we look at the year groups where it's most likely to be happening, we're looking at that year 3 in primary school through to around years 8 and 9 in high school. We also know that if we ask children, have you been bullied in this last 12 months, it's around 15% of children. So in any one year, it's around 15%. And there's a group of children, though, who seem to be exposed to bullying year after year. So it's often and frequent exposure for those children, which is really disheartening. It's really scary for the families. It's really sad for the children that are involved, and that's their memory of childhood, because we know that bullying has such a serious impact on their mental health, their well-being, their self-esteem.
Do you think some of the, like if you're getting a 15% yes, do you think that some kids have been bullied but are not saying that they have?
Yes, that's likely, and that's why it's a challenge to get our representative samples. We don't ask every child in Australia, so we're getting samples and then extrapolating from that to find out our best estimates there. And some children might not be aware or might not think that some of the behaviour they're exposed to is bullying.
Yeah. Do you see it more with girls than boys? Is there a gender skew with that data?
I think it's more that it's just different forms of bullying with boys and girls, and potentially it could be more exclusionary for girls, that they exclude others from their activities, where it might be more overt for boys. But there's no real strong difference between the genders.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting. I have 2 girls. Oriel has 2 boys.
Yes. So we're right in the middle.
And perfectly in that age group of the bullying. So we're in that.
Absolutely. We're right smack bang in the middle of it. Now, as far as I'm aware, Neither of my children have experienced bullying. Have either of yours?
Yeah,
Yes,
they have.
Was there something that you saw? How did you know?
I find it hard with kids sometimes with their language, right? So they'll say they are a bully, or they were bullying me. And so exactly what you said, Carol, with the conversation around, it's repeated, it's targeted, and trying to get them to understand that versus somebody being unkind, a little mean one day, or, whatever the case is. So when they'll tell me that there's a bully or there's someone that has bullied them, I sort of try and unpack that. But it's a difficult conversation. So yes, exclusionary behaviour is what my daughter experienced in grade 4. We're a group of 4, not a group of 5, and that was a consistent problem for a good chunk of time. So yeah, she managed to get through that, and we worked through it. But then the younger one can be a little bit more dramatic with it, so that using that sort of like they're a bully, and so I have to sort of sit there, and I would love to hear, Carol, how those, from a parent's perspective, how we do have those conversations and understand the difference between a kid just being sort of mean versus like this is actually a big problem that we need to address.
Because you also don't want to. You don't want to stop a child from being resilient, do you? If somebody is just being mean, you want to help them through that and support them.
Oriel, why did we have kids again?
I'm not always sure. I'm not always sure.
So that you have a new challenge every week to face.
Right. It's every day.
Yes, indeed.
Every hour.
Yeah.
So there's 2 parts to it, to the responding to the issue that you've just raised there. One is if your child's coming to you as their safe person and their trusted adult, it's at a time of upset for them, then that's a time where we really need to show that we're there for them. We're on their side. We're going to hear what they say. We're going to listen to them. We're going to show them that we've heard what they've said. We're going to believe what they're saying is their truth, and that we believe what's happening for them. And then after that, where we've acknowledged what's happening and we've unpacked it as much as we can to find out exactly what's happening, only after that would we start to look at, well, what sort of solutions or things could we be doing about this? And is this something that we want to think about now? Or do we want to wait until everyone's calmed down and have a time to think about, well, how can we approach this situation? What do we need to do differently? Who else do we need to involve in this conversation, particularly if the bullying is happening in a school or in a community group? It's about working with the adults in those settings as well.
Yeah, which is a difficult thing to navigate. It's a very difficult thing to navigate, to approach adults and maybe school. And schools, I think a lot of them differ in their approach to how they deal with bullying. And I think they can often just say, ignore it, or, they've got their systems in place and they don't sort of branch outside of that. And sure, probably for 90%, let's just pull a stat out, that does work. But in that percentage where it doesn't and it does escalate beyond, you then have to look at more extreme measures, right? Like pulling a child from a school, changing their environment, seeking professional counselling, psychology help. How does where's that line?
Yeah, it is tricky, and I guess you've gone from the 0 to 10 in that situation there, and we would hope now that schools are much more aware of bullying and the impact. It's very commonly reported in the media and so on. We have our Bullying No Way Week. So there is a lot of work that does happen at schools, but it is really important that parents are advocates for their children, but that they advocate in a calm and a positive communication way. So you might raise the issue with a teacher and not get the response that you want, but rather than escalate in terms of getting louder or frustrated, it's about how do we then escalate that to the next point at the school. So are there school counsellors or deputy principals and principals, guidance officers that we can take the issue to? And it's similar to what we're saying to our children. We're going to listen to them and we're going to believe them, and we need to find that adult at the school as well who will listen, believe and work with us. And if we're going there saying we want to be proactive, we want to put a plan in place, we know that we need to do things to help our child. We need to teach our child some skills for responding. and preventing the bullying, as well as how do we have extra surveillance around what's happening at the school, and how do we talk to the whole group of students in the environment about being kind, what bullying is, and what to do if it happens.
Our school has a policy, I suppose, unofficial policy, that if you believe there is something going on with your child, whatever it is, with another child, don't approach the school, approach your teachers, and as you said, there may be other people at the school that you want to talk to. Don't approach the other parent directly. I mean, this could involve all sorts of problems. What is your view on that? Because obviously, as you pointed out, the problem isn't always solved by just going to the school. What's your view on then taking this directly to the parent of, either way? Is it the parent of the child that's bullying, or is it the bully, etc.?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of issues that you have to consider. It's like, how well do you know the other parent? And how are you approaching them in a positive, let's problem solve sort of way, or this is what I'm hearing, I want to test this out, is this what you're hearing? Because there's always two sides as well to what's happening. And so it does make sense to have, I guess, a mediator in the middle with the school to a degree, providing some support there to everybody in the situation.
Yeah, that's right. You can't go in all guns blazing, and it's not going to end well, is it?
And it's not a great role model, is it? So
no, it's not. It's not. That's exactly right. Yeah.
And you don't know how the other parent is going to react.
Yeah, that's right.
They may just simply disagree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
What sort of I think when it comes to behaviour, your child's behaviour, we talked earlier on about the fact that not every child is going to admit to being bullied for whatever reason. Are there certain things that we should be watching out for, certain behaviours in our child that indicate either side, that indicate that they could be bullying or that they are being bullied?
I guess in terms of being bullied, it's often that children become withdrawn. So they'll take themselves away from situations and they'll avoid going to situations that they once enjoyed. So they'll say, I don't want to go to netball training, I don't want to go to school, or wherever the situation is, or I don't want to be friends with that person anymore. Or so they'll tell you, I'm not friends with that person anymore. But it really is that withdrawn, looking sad, and being anxious about going into situations. And for the child that is more of the one involved in the bullying behaviours, it may be that they have challenges at regulating their emotions, that they have challenges problem solving in ways that lead to win-win solutions. So children are all learning, and it all takes time to develop empathy, to be able to put ourselves in the shoes of others and understand what they're feeling and understand how our behaviour impacts them. We might be just in it for, but this is what I want, and not being aware of how that's going to hurt somebody else. So it is a lot of education and slow down to look at where everyone's coming from, and we're all at different stages in our development, and some children take longer to learn social skills or resilience or problem solving than others.
Yeah, that, I mean, you can see that, right? You can see that in a cluster of even the classroom and the way that some kids, are approaching situations of maturity, and the immaturity even in a year level would be so extreme. So those developmental things, is there, and I imagine as they get older, so I'm sort of on the precipice, I've got a 12-year-old now, so we're leaning into the high school years, and I'm terrified about year 9 because everybody talks about year 9 and girls, and it's just a hideous time. And I can already feel just that difference between my eldest daughter and my youngest, right? My youngest lives her life externally. Everything's out. All the emotions are in front of me. I can work through them. The eldest is starting to go into that. I'm just a bit cool. I'm just going to take, I don't really need you. She's a great kid, but, I can see that distance starting to form in that point. And I'd love to know, like, I've had some conversations with her, particularly around depression and, the wider mental health space, because I think that's really important that we start to educate them. But I'd love to know if there's conversations or tips on how we do talk to them about how extreme this can be, without scaring them, because it's a very delicate balance.
Yeah. And it's best to use times where you see something in the media or something's come up, and then you can use that as your teaching moment.
Yes.
And it's having conversations over dinner time, when everyone's there, and sharing, what they've heard or seen that day. And you can just say, oh, I saw this interesting story, which I'm sure you come across a lot of, to start, I guess, opening conversations up. It's tricky when we get into teenagers because they do want to pull away a bit. They want to be independent. They want to fit in with their peers. And that's part of why, bullying happens in those early high school years, because they want to fit in somewhere. But it's really important that we're talking to them about, well, fitting in is good, but it's also about doing that in a kind way. And how do we have the words to call out our mates or our friends when something doesn't seem right to you? So that's part of that theme this week, where we say be bold, but you need to have confidence, you need social skills, you need communication skills to be able to call out the behavior of your friends and say, hey, that's not on, that's not kind, let's include this person in our game.
You're so right. I think when I think back to school and the social circles, there were a number of girls that I can remember who were the mean kids, but there were also a number of girls that I can remember that the ones that had your back, and would speak up and say that's not okay, really advocate. And I really love that, because I think that's such an important part. It's tricky sometimes with that, because it becomes like it's teaching the kids what a kid problem is, and then when you have to escalate to a teacher or an adult around you. So, I'm always like, stand up for your friends, but don't put yourself in harm's way. If it becomes a point where we need to escalate, it's now become an adult problem, and trying to get that line right.
Yeah, and that's true. And if we're aware of bullying, we really do need to involve adults. It's not something that children can solve themselves. So they're getting support from parents and carers at home, teachers in the school environment, or coaches and so on, if it's in a more community setting.
Yes.
Carol, there's a difference, I suppose, today and what kids are experiencing today versus what we may have experienced as kids, because we bring in the dynamic of being online, cyberbullying. And there are way too many stories in the media about the results of cyberbullying. It's slightly different, I suppose, as you get older, and it might be harder to find as a parent. It might be harder to track as a parent. What's your best advice when it comes to parenting around cyberbullying? How do you determine that it happens? What sort of controls as kids get older do you have?
Help.
Help.
And look, this is a really tricky situation, and I would refer to the eSafety Commissioner's website. They do have some really good sort of technical information about privacy settings and
eSafety Commissioner's website. All right, we'll pop that in our show notes, because that sounds like an amazing resource to know about.
So there is a whole eSafety sort of commissioner for Australia, and they're doing a lot of resources directly to parents and carers and to children themselves about the technical side of it. So parents don't need to be the tech experts, but we do want them to be the experts in their children and to open up the conversations. So it's about setting up some healthy digital screen time routines from early on. So it's harder to make changes later. But when we're first introducing devices, it is taking an interest in what they're using and what apps they're accessing, what shows they're watching. It's about limiting the amount of time that they're using devices for recreational activity and so on. And are you aware of the changes to the social media?
I'd love to know your take on that. The 16 plus now.
Yes. So 13, well, in fact, children younger than 13 have had social media accounts because there wasn't really a stringent check on their age. So now there's much more responsibility on the social media companies to delay access for children until they're 16, which means they can't have their own accounts, which will make it more challenging for them to be bullied anonymously online and to be exposed to that. But I'm sure it won't take too long before children find other ways of using the devices. But I guess a key thing with the social media reforms is it stops children being fed inappropriate content through the algorithms that the social media companies set up. So I imagine it will mean that the social media companies make changes to their algorithms, and they do put in place apps and programs that are more appropriate for children under 16, or else they're going to lose that whole audience. So I think it will drive some change that way. It's also helpful for parents, because I'm sure you will use these regulations as well, where we say you can't sit in the front seat because you're not tall enough. You have to wear your seatbelt because that's the rules. No, we can't have social media accounts in your own name because that's the law. We can't drink alcohol until we're 18.
Yeah. And that's actually I think moving into this territory, I think part of what I understand about bullying in high school is there is a lot around what kids were allowed and the discretion of parents and what they're allowed to have and what they weren't. So then it was, I'm left out, everyone else has it, all of those sorts of things that go on. So hopefully if all parents, play part in this, then there's no one that's got it. And then we all could just seamlessly navigate this. I think I'm living in a bit of a dreamland to say that's going to happen.
I can work with you.
I mean, I'm on board, guys. I'm putting it out there. I know no social media till you're 16. I'm totally fine with this. But it may help to take away, at least eliminate that little issue that, everyone else has got it and I'm left out. And as a result of that, they're all talking about it on Monday, what they saw online and trends and all that, and I don't get to see it, and those sorts of conversations. He's hoping.
Yes. So I would expect the vast majority of parents will toe the line, so as to speak, but there will always be ways around the rules, but hopefully it's just the minority.
Yeah, that's right.
So if taking a sort of a step back, or I suppose not really, because it doesn't matter whether it's bullying or cyberbullying. If your child has experienced it and you're getting over it and you're helping them and you've taken steps, whatever they may be, to resolve the issue, what are the longer term effects and how can you help your child through those? Because, I mean, surely that has a fairly hefty impact on any child's mental health, not just at the time, but on an ongoing basis.
That's right. So it all comes down to children's feelings of self-worth and self-esteem, and that's where parents and carers play a really important role about building up their children's confidence and showing that you have confidence in them to try new things. You encourage them to try new things, and if they fall down, you encourage them to get back up again and try again. You're telling them that they're valued and that they're loved, and they're an important part of your life and your family. So it's giving those opportunities to be confident. So let them try new things, encourage them to be independent, and letting them know how proud you are of what they're doing, so that they can start to build up, an internal, that intrinsic knowledge of their own self-esteem and their self-worth. So we can be asking them, how did that make you feel when you achieved whatever it is that they were striving to do?
Yeah, and finding maybe a separate group of people in amongst that are more their people and common interests and shared experiences that hopefully build them up around them as well in that newer community. Or I can see that with those external sort of opportunities that kids have, it's positive. I've got a question about, and I hope I'm never in this situation. I hope I've raised my girls with respect for others and all of the good things. However, what if you are the parent of a bully?
And I think it's important that as parents, we have to stand by our children in the tough times as well. And we need to find out what's going on for them. So why is the behaviour happening? What are they trying to achieve from the behaviour, or what skills don't they have as well as they could, like problem solving, or social skills, friendship skills, and so supporting them to develop those skills that they're going to need, and whether that's going to school psychologists or GPs, counsellors, to get some support for that as well.
Yeah. So same thing really, coming at it with empathy and a wider understanding, but trying to get the issues to the bubble to the top with support. Absolutely,
and we don't want to be. We need to be really careful how we react to them. We want them to be able to come and tell us that they're having trouble, that they can't make friends, and they've done something that they shouldn't have done, but it just seemed like the right thing at the time. They were stressed, or they saw that everyone was taking something and they were running out, and I just grabbed one before they all ran out, and then everyone was mad at me. Or so it's like, what's going on for that child, and helping them learn that they can come and tell you as their parent and carer that you will listen to them, you'll hear them, you'll believe them, and you'll help them.
Yeah, that's a real takeout, isn't it? That communication between the safe adults and the kids, right?
Yeah, and not overreacting. So staying calm and not being judgmental. You did what? And why the heck would you do that? So it's like, oh, what was going on for you? And really, providing a calm place and a safe place for them to share what's happening in their life.
And when you're a parent, it's not always easy to be calm.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Oriel? Don't we take calm tablets?
It's called wine.
Yeah, it's called wine. It is called wine.
It's so true. Those deep breaths every now and again. And it's also being able to stop what you're doing when they come to you, because they'll probably come to you at the worst time from your perspective, but the best time from their perspective. Yeah. They're ready to talk. So especially when you're getting to those 12, the tweens and the teens, if they want to have a conversation, if you can stop what you're doing, I'd encourage that.
Oh, that's such a great message, because you're absolutely right. They're always, those conversations always happen like right at the sort of inconvenient times. I have realized a good car chat is working for the 12-year-old. I've sort of have captive, and we just ease into conversations, and then next minute I just find myself in a much deeper conversation than what I thought. But great.
Car chats are wonderful for my 9-year-old too.
Yeah.
In fact, both of them. Absolutely
Captive.
Brilliant.
Captive, they can't get away.
So, Carol, I know that Triple P have actually helped me, and I know they've helped you before in the past. But what is the role of Triple P here? I mean, this isn't a marketing exercise. This is a genuine question, because Triple P have helped so many families out there, but specifically when it comes to bullying, if you are experiencing it with your child, again, on either side, what is the role that Triple P can play here?
It goes back to what I said in the opening, that the parents and carers are the most influential people in our children's lives. And by using positive parenting strategies, they can build up their children's confidence and their resilience and social skills. They can be teaching empathy and kindness and understanding, and they can be supporting their child in problem solving. So it's about helping parents access evidence-based support through programs like Triple P to get their own confidence and skills up, so they can have these tough conversations in ways that are helpful, in a safe way, without being judgmental to what it is their child's saying.
So giving them the tools. And you guys do that mainly online, but there is also in-person help as well, isn't there?
That's right. So at the moment, we're very fortunate to have Australian government funding, which is making our online programs freely available across the whole of Australia. So all families with children under 12 can access a range of programs. And we do have a new program called Resilience Triple P, which is specifically around helping to prevent bullying and responding to bullying, which will be out later this year. And again, freely available to all families. But then also through our organisation, we provide professional development training to practitioners around Australia and the world, in fact, so that they can deliver the program face to face. But then you're going to those services for that support rather than to Triple P.
So you mentioned around the world. I know our audience is certainly all over the world. We've got some listeners from very interesting places. You are actually an international organisation now, aren't you? It's not just Australia-based.
That's right. So our head office is in Brisbane, but we have about 9 offices now overseas, but we're in about 30 different countries, and various aspects of the program have been translated into over 20 languages other than English. Amazing.
That's incredible. Yeah. I guess I have a final question for you, if we're sort of at the end of our chat. If with the correct word is Bullying No Way Week, I would love to know what your sort of top line message is that you'd like to leave us with.
I love the theme of this year's Bullying No Way Week. It's be bold, be kind, and speak up. And that's for parents and children alike. But as parents, it's our role to encourage and support our children so that they have the skills to be bold. It's easier said than done. Just to be kind, but they need to learn what that means, and we need to show them. And then the most important, being that safe harbour for our children. So if they come to us with an issue or a worry, whatever's on their mind, be available to listen, to believe, and then to help them.
That's amazing. It's a brilliant message.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's making me think about what I'm going to say to my kids now.
Yeah,
Just giving me structure. But we very much look forward to that resilience program coming out. So we would love to have you back on when that launches towards the end of the year and learn more about that and share that around as well.
That sounds fabulous. I'd love to do that.
Lovely.
We started this podcast to sort of talk about issues that affect parents, wherever you are, whatever age your kids are, and to let parents out there know that they're not alone. So this sort of conversation is so helpful.
Absolutely.
And that's such an important message. There is support there for parents, and we don't know how to do it until we're thrown into it. And we can always benefit from learning some of the tips now about what we know works for positive parenting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful.
All right.
Well, thank you so much, Carol.
You,
It was so lovely to talk to you. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Same to you, ladies. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, and good luck with the rest of the week, and we hope the message gets out there far and wide.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And that's it from us.
That's it from us. We'll see you all next week, hey?
See you all next week.
Thank you so much. Bye.